The girl had just turned 16 and was forcibly assigned a husband by the tribe. It was a slovenly wild boar with a mouth full of fangs. What was even more excessive was that upon their first meeting, the wild boar demanded forced mating. Looking at the disgusting and lecherous wild boar, the girl decisively refused. But unexpectedly, the wild boar directly ripped off the girl's skirt. Frightened, the girl grabbed a nearby branch and poked out the wild boar's eye, then immediately fled outside the tribe. But before she could escape the tribe, she was caught and brought back by a fierce tiger beastman. Just as the girl thought, she was going to be sentenced to be defiled by a wild boar. The tribal chieftain instead ordered the punishment of that wild boar. The reason was that he had attempted forced mating against the female's will. And furthermore, the girl was to be rewarded with 5 handsome beast husbands with 18-pack abs. The gentle and beautiful peacock beast, the shy but secretly passionate fierce tiger beast, the domineering yet doting eagle beast, the rakishly handsome and scheming black panther beast, the crazy and narcissistic dragon beast. Finally, after experiencing the joy of being surrounded by 5 handsome men, the girl expressed that having one wife with multiple husbands was actually this great. It turned out that just moments ago, Shen Yuran had died suddenly from staying up all night reading novels, and transmigrated into a beast world tribe, but was unexpectedly found by a wild boar. Little did she know this was a wild boar in heat, so he directly dragged Shen Yuran to his cave, and hurriedly took off his animal hide clothing. Upon hearing this, Shen Yuran's face was filled with fear. He looked up at the disgusting and lewd pig-headed figure before him, a beast man in human form. His mind raced. He quickly realized he had transmigrated to the beast world continent. Presumably, females must be rare and precious here. Therefore, clutching at a sliver of hope, she spoke up, "I am a female. You can't treat me like this." But unexpectedly, this pig-headed male wasn't having it. "Little female, this is not your original tribe. The one I saved belongs to me. Longtooth's female." After saying this, he bent down and grabbed Shen Yuran's skirt hem, violently tearing at it with this rough method, frightening Shen Yuran terribly. She could no longer care about anything else. Grabbing whatever was at hand, she hurled it at the wild boar's face. Accompanied by Longtooth's howl of pain, Shen Yuran finally saw clearly. What she had grabbed was actually a broken branch, and it had directly stabbed into the wild boar beast man's eye. But at this moment, she dared not delay. Scrambling and rolling, she fled the cave. Outside the cave, it was pitch black. Without a second thought, Shen Yuran ran toward the forest ahead. She believed that as long as she ran into the darkness, she could escape the clutches. She absolutely did not want to mate with a wild boar. However, she would not have thought that the injured Longtooth would actually mobilize the tribe's forces to capture her. Just after Shen Yuran ran out of the cave, Changjia pulled out the wooden stick that was stuck in his eye. Along with it, a large string of eyeballs also fell off. A painful wail echoed throughout the tribe. Instantly, it attracted all the ORCs of the tribe. They stared in shock at the terrifying scene inside the cave. Even some timid females were so frightened that they clung to their partners. Meanwhile, Changjia was desperately covering his bleeding eye socket. The pain in his eye made it impossible for him to stand up. "Help me catch that damned female. She's the one who blinded my eye." As soon as these words were spoken, all the ORCs roared in anger. "Damn outsider female. How dare she harm an ORC of our Sunset tribe?" The next moment they set out to catch her. A large group of ORCs charged into the forest. They conducted a carpet-like search. Soon, an ORC in the woods caught the scent belonging to Changjia. He immediately roared, "It was left by that little female. She's right ahead." Meanwhile, Shen Yuran, who was fleeing in panic, upon hearing this roar, ran forward even more desperately. But unexpectedly, she tripped over a branch and fell to the ground. However, she didn't care about the pain. Getting up to run again, suddenly, a large tiger appeared before her, blocking the way. The big tiger picked up Shen Yuran with its mouth and headed back toward the tribe. Shen Yuran struggled violently and shouted, "You despicable beasts! Let me go!" With that, he smacked his hand right onto the tiger's eyes. Only this time, it was pig dung he had picked up from the wild boar's den. Suddenly attacked by a huge lump of pig dung, Lubai could only first carry Shen Yuran in his mouth to the river to wash his eyes. He placed Shen Yuran on the riverbank and then jumped into the water. Seeing that he had entered the water, Shen Yuran turned and ran without a second thought. But before she could reach the edge of the forest, she was once again intercepted by Lubai. "A female has blinded Chanjia's eyes. You must come back with me." Hearing this, Shen Yuran firmly refused. "No, it was him who bullied me first. I was just fighting back and accidentally injured his eye. Besides, if I go back, Chanjia will definitely not let me off." She wiped her tears again. "Good beastman. Please let me go. I don't want to die. I will remember your kindness for the rest of my life." For a moment, Lubai became somewhat flustered. It was the first time he had ever seen such a stubborn yet delicate female. After all, the females in the tribe were all very tough. Nothing like her, so fragile and delicate. "But if you don't return to the tribe, you'll be killed by wild beasts in the forest." "Even if I'm killed by beasts, it's still better than living with that wild boar," Shen Yuran shouted at the top of her lungs. All she wanted now was to escape. Just the thought of that wild boar beastman's body filled her with disgust and fear. Lubai hadn't expected her to be so averse to Chanjia. Such are the customs of the tribe. Whoever has the ability to bring back a female from the wilderness makes her their possession. This cannot be changed by anyone. And although Longtooth is indeed somewhat ugly in appearance, it shouldn't warrant such rejection, right? After all, he is a beastman of status within the tribe. Seeing that, Lubai remained silent. Shen Yuran thought she was being let go, so she turned and ran towards the woods. But before she could run more than a couple of steps, she was picked up again. Meanwhile, in the plaza of the Sunset Tribe, all the beastmen were waiting for the males who had gone to find females to return. Longtooth was clutching his eye, which had already stopped bleeding, sitting on the ground in fury. He even declared that once that female returned, he would definitely teach her a proper lesson. Soon, Shen Yuran was brought back by Lubai. Lubai gently placed her on the ground and stepped aside. He felt that such a major incident required an explanation to the tribe. Seeing Shen Yuran return, Longtooth clenched his fist, walked over, and grabbed her chin. "Damn little female. You actually dared to blind my eye. You're simply seeking death." Shen Yuran's tears streamed down from the force of Longtooth's grip. She tried to pull back, but Longtooth held her firmly. "I didn't mean to. You forced me." "What did I force you to do?" Longtooth found these words laughable. During the day, everyone saw that he had brought back a female. Not only was I happy for him, but I was also very envious. You should know, this little female looks much more delicate and soft than the females in the tribe. Her skin is fair, and her hair is smooth. A pair of lively eyes that seemed to speak. But in the blink of an eye, his own eyes were blinded, and the little female ran away. This was simply a huge humiliation for Lanjia. He is not someone to be bullied. At this moment, Shen Yuran gathered her courage and looked at Lanjia. "I don't like you. You insisted on forcing me to mate with you. I was only resisting, and had no choice but to injure you." As soon as these words were spoken, the beastmen all turned to look at Lanjia. Although this little female is an outsider, her status is not as high as the females of this tribe. She is still a precious female. When it comes to mating, it absolutely must not be forced. "Lanjia, how could you resort to violence? Don't you know females are delicate and precious? It's fortunate that you were the one injured. If the female had been hurt, that would have been a loss for the tribe." The tribe chief, who had remained silent until now, also understood. This new female simply did not take a liking to this ugly Lanjia. He lowered his head to look at Shen Yuran, who was shrinking on the ground. "What is your name?" Shen Yuran. The tribe chief nodded with satisfaction. This little female looks very gentle and obedient. Since you are not satisfied with Lanjia, then tomorrow, you will join the other 3 adult females of the tribe in attending the mate selection gathering. At that time, you will officially become a member of my Sunset tribe. Shen Yuran turned to look at the males around her. Each one was disheveled and dirty, and each only used a simple animal hide to cover their key parts. Yet even so, they were still much better looking than Longtooth. Thinking of today's ordeal and the forest she couldn't escape, she had no choice but to agree. However, Longtooth, who had lost his female, was not having it. Chief, this isn't fair. She is my mate. No one is allowed to take her away. The chief, whose authority was publicly challenged, glared coldly at Longtooth. You're female. Have you two worshipped the beast god? And just based on you forcing a female to mate this one point, she is no longer your female. Everyone in the beast world tribes knows. Only after worshipping the beast god does it count as a true union. Looking at the chief's imposing expression, Longtooth could only swallow this bitter pill in silence. But he shot Shen Yuran a vicious glare. He had, after all, paid with an eye. Shen Yuran felt frightened under his gaze, so she followed the female arranged by the chief back to the female's cave. Fortunately, although the female's cave wasn't large, it was relatively clean. She curled up on a pile of somewhat greasy, dry grass, staring fearfully at the cave entrance. That look Longtooth just gave. He probably won't let this go easily. The female Zhao Mai saw her squatting there silently crying, and couldn't help but speak up. You'd better think about who would be a suitable partner to choose tomorrow. Hearing this, Shen Yuran snapped back to reality. If she wanted to survive in the beast world, she had to choose a powerful male partner. But even so, if she still refused during mating, it probably wouldn't be acceptable. Just as she was troubled, footsteps suddenly came from the cave entrance. Zhao Mai, are you here? Yes. Black Cat, come here quickly. Hearing the familiar voice, Zhao Mai immediately waved at the black shadow by the cave entrance. The male, called Black Fur, walked over with a smile. But before he reached Zhao Mai, he tore off his animal hide and tossed it aside. With a fierce pounce, he pressed down on Zhao Mai. I've missed you so much. Zhao Mai, in turn, tightly hugged Black Fur's back. Hurry up, I've missed you too. In the blink of an eye, the two began their performance. Beside them, Shen Yuran listened to the moaning sounds, completely stunned. Isn't the female cave? Isn't this the cave where underage females live? How come Zhao Mai is with a male? It's fine. It'll be over soon. Shen Yuran turned her body away, covered her ears, and comforted herself. Suddenly, a foot kicked directly onto her back. She turned her head to look. It was Zhao Mai's. However, Black Fur, seeing her turn to look, directly revealing his own tool of mischief, with a mischievous smile. Sorry about that. Although the cave was extremely dimly lit, Shen Yuran could still clearly see the male's expression. There was no trace of apology. It was clearly a provocation. This beastman was definitely up to no good. So she quickly walked out of this cave. But in the quiet, still tribe at night, almost every cave was busy making little beastmen. Shen Yuran found it somewhat frightening, so she headed towards a quieter spot nearby. Soon, she noticed a cave next door actually had a firelight flickering, and the aroma of roasting meat wafted out from time to time. At that moment, her stomach betrayed her with a growl. She hadn't eaten anything since crossing over, already starving to the point of dizziness, so she followed the scent to the cave entrance, and saw a small fire inside, with a large piece of meat roasting above it. Shen Yuran stared fixedly at the meat, and the owner of the meat looked at her. Huang Yu knew a new female had arrived in the tribe today, and had even blinded Lanjia's eye. The commotion was huge. He couldn't avoid knowing about it. He looked at Shen Yuran, crouching at the cave entrance, staring at him. Her face covered in grime, her hair also a tangled mess. But even so, one could still tell she was quite beautiful. With just one glance, Huang Yu felt a surge of heat rushing straight to his abdomen, so he couldn't help but ask if she wanted to eat some meat. Starving Shen Yuran heard this, swallowed her saliva, nodded quickly in agreement. Upon hearing this, Huang Yu flashed a faint smile. If you want it, come in and get it yourself. And by now, Shen Yuran had lost all vigilance. All she wanted now was to fill her stomach. So she boldly walked into the cave. Huang Yu also took down the roasted meat and handed it to her. Shen Yuran snatched it over, held it in her hands and started gnawing on it. The meat was very chewy and carried a faint aroma of barbecue. It was much more fragrant than any delicacies she had ever eaten before. After Shen Yuran finished eating, she wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, then thanked Huang Yu. Thank you for the roasted meat. Seeing this, Huang Yu smiled and handed her a piece of linen cloth. You're welcome. But immediately after, he stood up and reached out to wrap his arm around her waist. Shen Yuran was instantly frightened and stepped back repeatedly. She looked in terror at the handsome beastman before her. What are you doing? Of course, taking you to wash up. Huang Yu slowly explained. Wash up for what? Shen Yuran's mind momentarily short-circuited. This beastman before her seemed decent enough, but that didn't mean he had to manage her washing up, right? But Huang Yu, hearing the question, didn't think the same way. He suddenly wondered if the female before him had something wrong with her mind. But considering she was quite good-looking, he patiently explained, of course, it's for sleeping. How dirty it is to sleep without washing up. After saying that, he raised his hand and touched Shen Yuran's face, which was as messy as a flower cat's. However, this move made Shen Yuran extremely scared. Without thinking twice, she turned and ran outside. But as soon as she turned around, she was grabbed by the wrist by Huang Yu. With a forceful pull, Shen Yuran fell into his arms. Little female, you ate my meat, which means you agreed to mate with me. Don't tell me you want to go back on your word. I'm not that fool, Changya. Shen Yuran stared at him fearfully. Although this male is very good-looking, that's no excuse for him to use his beauty to commit violence. Besides, she doesn't have the habit of mating with just anyone. As for this rule, she truly didn't know about it. She thought this person was just pitying her. Who knew there would be such consequences? So she struggled and spoke up. I'll return the meat to you. Please let me go. But the next moment, she felt a scorching heat coming from her lower back. She suddenly realized what it was, and was immediately too scared to move. And Huang Yu, who had been holding back for a long time, was feeling very uncomfortable from her squirming. But he still had some reason left. Fine, but you must choose me as your partner tomorrow. Hearing this, Shen Yuran nodded frantically. As long as you let me go now, I will definitely choose you. Upon getting her promise, Huang Yu immediately released his grip. He felt that if he didn't let go now, he would really take her immediately. Shen Yuran saw him release his hand. She immediately turned and ran outside. She didn't stop until she reached under a tree far away in the tribe. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. She turned her head, still feeling lingering fear, and glanced at the cave that was no longer visible. She felt like she was about to break down. She had only been here for a day, and had already encountered this kind of thing twice. However, she didn't dare to stay any longer, because she could still see the cave of that vicious wild boar from here. So she gathered her courage and walked into the dark forest. She had to take advantage of the night to get as far away as possible, to avoid being dragged back again. And so, Shen Yuran walked from night until morning. At that moment, she happened to arrive at a riverbank. She hurried over to wash her face, took a couple of sips of water, and then continued walking along the river. She didn't think she was safe just because she had walked all night. In her hand, she still held a branch she had picked up along the way as a weapon. It could at least offer some defense if she encountered danger. But just then, a hyena appeared ahead of her, crouched by the river, drinking water. Seeing this, Shen Yuran felt like she was going to fall apart. These hyenas live in packs. If she got targeted, she'd probably meet her end right here. And to die from an anal attack, she'd rather just be killed outright. At that moment, she suddenly felt, seems like the male who gave me meat last night. Life isn't bad either. Just as Shen Yuran was lost in thought, the hunting dog finished drinking water and noticed her. It turned its head and stared straight at Shen Yuran. This scared Shen Yuran so much she didn't dare move. But the hunting dog slowly and cautiously approached her, while letting out a threatening low growl from its mouth. Shen Yuran immediately raised the stick in her hand to threaten it to leave. But the hunting dog didn't stop at all. It bared its teeth and charged straight over. At this, Shen Yuran was so frightened she turned and ran, shouting for help as she ran. Just at that moment, a black shadow flashed past from behind Shen Yuran. Her footing became unsteady, and she fell directly to the ground. But she couldn't care about the pain. Turning her head, she saw a massive black panther, biting the hunting dog's neck in its mouth. Blood dripped down drop by drop, and it started walking towards her. Seeing this, Shen Yuran pleaded in terror, "Please, not me." However, the next second, the black panther's golden pupils slightly contracted. It stopped in its tracks, lowered its head, dropped the prey, then turned and ran into the forest, disappearing. Seeing the danger was gone, Shen Yuran finally let out a sigh of relief. It's too dangerous out here. She must first find herself a place to stay. So she picked up the stick from the ground and slowly stood up, only to find her ankle had swollen up. But she could still walk. She looked down at the bloody hunting dog on the ground and directly threw it into the river nearby. She had no idea how to skin it. It was cleaner to just discard it, to avoid attracting other wild beasts. Meanwhile, the Black Panther beast Zuan Feng stood behind the bushes. Watching this scene, he couldn't understand why this female was throwing away meat. Wasn't she hungry? And where was her mate? Why hadn't he come looking for her after all this time? What an irresponsible mate. And Shen Yuran had no idea about the Black Panther hiding in the jungle. She kept walking along the river without a second thought. Finally, in the afternoon, she discovered a cave in a very good location. The cave was located halfway up the mountain, with no trees blocking the surroundings. Any approaching beast could be spotted immediately, so she limped to the cave entrance. Seeing the inside was very dry, not even a single piece of gravel, she was quite satisfied. Then she walked to a corner of the cave and sat down to rest. But just at that moment, a tall figure appeared at the cave entrance. "You really can run." The familiar voice made Shen Yuran's scalp tingle. She had run all night. How had she been found so quickly? "I said I'd pay you back the meat." "Heh, you said the same thing last night. But then, you ran away." Huang Yu was truly furious. He got up happily in the morning, tidied himself up, and even cleaned the cave very thoroughly, thinking that his home would welcome a female master today, but never expected that the mating ceremony was about to end. And he still hadn't seen that dirty figure. Clearly, he had been tricked by that bad female. She ate his meat and still dared to deceive him. Huang Yu felt like he was about to explode with anger. He turned around and started searching for her, searched all over the tribe, and finally found her in this cave. At this moment, that glistening, fair face was looking at him with great fear. Shen Yuran knew she had deceived him, but it was only because he had designs on her. Yet, remembering the hyenas that wanted to eat her today, and the Black Panther as big as a buffalo, she was truly afraid of this beast. World environment. She understood that if she wanted to survive, she must rely on a male. Moreover, this Huang Yu before her was at least much better looking than Lanjia, and wouldn't force her. So she stared at Huang Yu and said, "Being your female is fine, but I have conditions." Hearing this, Huang Yu breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, he genuinely liked this little female before him. If she insisted on leaving, he wouldn't force her. He had chased after her just to make sure she was safe, but never expected her to actually relent. "Tell me, as long as it's something I can do. You cannot force me to have a relationship with you." Shen Yuran said very formally. Hearing this, Huang Yu was stunned for a moment. Is this considered a condition? Isn't this a principle that males must abide by? Therefore, fearing Shen Yuran would regret it, he quickly nodded in agreement. After saying that, he picked up his little female and returned to his cave. And not long after they left, a pure black panther with golden eyes appeared at the cave entrance. Zuan Feng smelled the scent of the little female from the afternoon. This fragrance made him somewhat intoxicated. But within this faint aroma, there was also mixed an unfamiliar male scent. It seemed her mate had found her. But such a delicate and lovely female. He liked her far too much. So he walked over to where Shen Yuran had just been sitting and lay down. On the other side. By the time Huang Yu carried Shen Yuran back to the cave, it was already night. Returning to this cave again, Shen Yuran's face flushed a little. Huang Yu placed her on a rock to sit, and she just sat there obediently. But Huang Yu seemed to have already adapted to his new role, thoughtfully roasting a piece of bamboo rat meat. He handed it to Shen Yuran to eat something. Seeing such a large piece of meat before her, Shen Yuran was quite tempted. Moreover, she had just deceived him yesterday. Yet not only did he not get angry, he was now giving her meat to eat. Perhaps he really is a good partner. But the moment she remembered last night's incident, her heart still trembled with fear. So she quickly shook her head, saying, "I'm not hungry." Yet the very next second, her stomach betrayed her with an audible growl. Seeing this, Huang Yu couldn't help but laugh. "Don't worry, I keep my word. If you don't agree, I won't touch you." Hearing this, Shen Yuran could no longer dwell on the earlier awkwardness, because the rich aroma of grilled meat at the tip of her nose made her lose all restraint. "I believe you." After the meal, Huang Yu took her to the river to wash up. And now, they had returned to the cave, ready to rest. But seeing there was only one fur bed, Shen Yuran felt troubled. However, upon second thought, she had agreed to be his partner. Sharing a bed was inevitable. She then walked to the side opposite where Huang Yu usually slept, climbed onto the bed, pulled over the nearby fur blanket, covered herself with it. To block the view, Huang Yu, holding the fur he intended to use as bedding for the night, turned to find she had already settled on the bed, and the side where he usually rested was still left for him. A slight smile lifted the corner of his mouth. He put down the fur blanket, walked to the bedside, glanced at Shen Yuran, who had wrapped herself up tightly, and lay down, feeling quite content. Yet this night, Shen Yuran slept quite soundly. Fell asleep as soon as I touched the bed. However, Huang Yu stayed awake all night. He had always thought this little female was just pretty looking, but he never expected that in the dead of night her scent would be so intoxicating as well. It made his whole body restless and hard to fall asleep, so he simply went out hunting as soon as dawn broke. Now, he was a male with a mate, not like the single male he used to be, where one person full meant the whole family was fed. Moreover, this little female was still very wary of him, and it wasn't good for him to stay at home for too long. By the time Shen Yuran woke up from a full sleep, the entire cave was empty except for her. The fur blanket by her feet was folded very neatly, clearly done by that male, putting on her somewhat smelly sneakers, and the long shirt dress that had long turned sour. She simply combed her hair with her hands, before leisurely stepping out of the cave for some fresh air. By now, the sun was already high in the sky, but the tribe was bustling with activity. Yesterday was a good day for the tribe. Several bachelors' marriages were settled all at once. Therefore, today, everyone didn't need to gather supplies. They were all resting at home. In the middle of the tribe, several females had gathered, chatting and laughing together. Suddenly, someone sharp-eyed spotted Shen Yuran and pointed at her in surprise, shouting, "That female who ran away is back." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone turned to look at Shen Yuran. This female was too outstanding. The way she dresses is also different from them. More importantly, yesterday she actually blinded Lanji's eyes. Such a female. They couldn't forget even if they wanted to. Shen Yuran somewhat awkwardly waved at them. Good morning. Zhao Mai snorted coldly. Hey since you already ran away, why come back? The females on good terms with Zhao Mai also chimed in. That's right, and you even got Zhao Mai scolded by the chief. Exactly. Causing trouble as soon as you came to our sunset tribe. Not to mention blinding Lanjia's eyes. You also got Zhao Mai scolded. You're simply a jinx. Hearing this information, Shen Yuran felt her heart tighten. This was something she had never expected. She never thought that her running away would cause Zhao Mai to be scolded. This was her fault. Taking a deep breath, she walked up to Zhao Mai. Zhao Mai, I'm sorry. I didn't expect my disappearance would get you scolded. This is my fault. I apologize to you. I'm sorry. The sudden apology actually made Zhao Mai a bit uncomfortable. If it were any other female in the situation, they'd probably just ignore her at most. Those with a bad temper might even start cursing at her directly. But she just apologizes directly. This actually made her feel a bit embarrassed. Scratching her slightly itchy scalp. Forget it. Just make sure you say something before you go anywhere from now on, so I don't get scolded by the clan leader again for nothing. Shen Yuran saw that her temper came and went quickly. She looked like a cheerful and pure female at first glance. He smiled at her. I won't anymore. I have a partner now. Little master, there's more to this chapter. Later, click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. That's good. Welcome to our sunset tribe. Zhao Mai smiled and took her hand. Sit down, I'll catch lice for you. Another plump female next to her immediately spoke up excitedly. I'll catch them for the little beauty. Hearing this, Shen Yuran's smile immediately froze on her face. She forgot that these beastmen live in caves, eat the most primitive roasted meat, and probably have lice on them. Then she slept in the cave last night. Doesn't that mean? As soon as she thought of this, she quickly sat down on the stone. Quick, help me catch some. She even felt her scalp starting to itch. Soon, the crackling sound of pinching lice came from behind her. It made her heart tremble. Once you get infested with these things, they're very hard to get rid of. She really didn't want that kind of thing on her head. Zhao Mai, have you found any? Zhao Mai's dark hands combed through her hair back and forth. Apart from some sweat smell, not to mention no lice, there wasn't even a single nit. Otherwise, your hair is very clean. Not a single louse. Hearing this, Shen Yuran finally felt relieved. It's good that there aren't any. It seems she needs to go back and wash all the animal skins on the bed in the cave. She also needs to clean the hygiene inside and out thoroughly. Otherwise, she won't feel at ease. If hygiene is poor in a place like this cave, it's easy to get lice and fleas. Once infested, you can't even sleep well. At this moment, a female wearing white animal skin, with a pheasant feather stuck in her hair, walked over barefoot, and said arrogantly, Hey, have you seen Huang Yu? Chapter 6, Competing and Scheming. Everyone shook their heads. They've been playing here since morning. Where would they have seen any Huang Yu? Ai Lin disdainfully snorted through her nose. You don't know either. After saying that, she turned and left the place. Seeing her walk away, Zhao Mai immediately leaned close to Shen Yuran's ear and whispered, Hey trying to go fawn over Huang Yu again. Of course, now that Huang Yu isn't here, she must have gone to find Luo Bai. A somewhat plump female nearby directly rolled her eyes at Ai Lin's retreating figure. She already has 20 partners. Still not satisfied, Shen Yuran heard these words, but they went in one ear and out the other. What Luo Bai? She doesn't know them, doesn't know anything. It has nothing to do with her. Besides, she just got here. She doesn't know much about the people and things here. She won't comment further. However, right at that moment, a male walked past them. That look startled Shen Yuran with a jolt. Scared, she quickly stood up. If the situation seemed wrong, she would run. Changjia stared hatefully and fixedly at Shen Yuran. This ruthless female Whenever he saw her, he was reminded of losing one of his eyes. Although the clan leader forbade him from causing trouble, as long as she was in the Sunset Tribe for a day, he would eventually find a way to deal with her. Shen Yuran stared fearfully at his back till he entered the cave. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. She said goodbye to Zhao Mai and the others, and hurried back to her own cave. She felt it was better for her to go out less if nothing was wrong. That look from Changjia just now. She was certain this guy was looking for trouble with her. She didn't want to cause trouble. Zhao Mai and the others naturally saw it too. Changia's fierce glare. Even if Shen Yuran still wanted to play, they would have urged her to go back quickly. In this kind of situation, it's better to have her own mate by her side, to avoid being bullied and regretting it too late. However, when Shen Yuran returned to the cave, looking at the things inside, she felt uncomfortable all over, feeling that something was off. There were lion fleas and the like. So she walked to the stone bed, took off all the fur blankets, and also wrapped a large pile of plant ash from the fire pit, carried them and went to the riverside. First soaked them with the plant ash, then little by little, rubbed them clean by hand, directly hung them to dry on the branches by the river. There were branches specifically for drying everywhere here. All the beastmen in the entire tribe dried things here. Not afraid of theft, either. Even after washing, the male scent would still linger on them. Just one sniff, and you'd know whose it was. The riverside was covered with broom seedlings. Although not yet yellow, they were considered old enough. Broke off some forcefully, removed the green leaves on them, returned to the cave, carefully tied them up with leather strips. Although somewhat crude, it was still not bad. Better than having nothing. Sprinkled some water to avoid dust flying all over the cave when sweeping. "Who are you?" Just as she was diligently cleaning, suddenly a sharp female voice came from the cave entrance. Looking up, she saw a familiar figure. Wasn't this the female who came asking about Huang Yu in the morning? She didn't know her. It was normal for her not to know herself either. Shen Yuran immediately introduced herself with a smile. "I am Shen Yuran. And you are?" However, this smile directly stung Ailin's eyes. This was Huang Yu's cave. She was a female of unknown origin. She must be here to seduce someone. Otherwise, why would she be cleaning here? Thinking of this, she let out a disdainful snort. She strode inside, but deliberately bumped into Shen Yuran's shoulder. "You're only fit for sweeping the floor. How dare you try to seduce males here? It's disgusting. Get lost now." Shen Yuran thought this person was rather inexplicable. "I am. How did you get here?" She was just about to explain, when Huang Yu returned. He smiled slightly and greeted the female beside her. Seeing him return, Ailin immediately stepped forward with a smile and said, "Huang Yu, look, I came specifically to clean for you. How is it? Is it clean enough?" Hearing this name, Shen Yuran was quite surprised. She looked up at the male standing at the cave entrance. His jet-black long hair fell smoothly down his back. A black animal hide skirt covered his private parts. A pair of long, slender legs that at a glance seemed full of strength. So this is Huang Yu. Remembering that she had already eaten 2 meals at his place and stayed for a night, yet she didn't even know his name. It really felt a bit too much. But this female in front of her seemed to be here to pick a fight. She had thought that females in this beast world would all be more or less like Zhao Mai. But it seems she was overthinking it. Yes, she just said she cleaned the cave. Still have to wipe all the utensils with animal hide. As soon as Huang Yu returned, he saw the broom in Shen Yuran's hand. How could he not understand that all this was done by her? But he didn't expect this girl to also be someone who doesn't take losses lying down, not exposing Ailin. Instead, he went along with her words. Suddenly put on the spot, Ailin heard Shen Yuran's words and couldn't very well refute them. Could only force a smile. He. Yes. Saying this, she walked to the side, picked up a clean animal hide and started wiping the dust. Shen Yuran unceremoniously walked over next to her, pointing at the dust in the corner. telling her to wipe it clean bit by bit, making Ai Lin grind her teeth in anger. She, the esteemed daughter of the tribe's witch doctor, the future witch doctor to be, this outsider female in front of her, actually dared to order her to work. Simply detestable. Shen Yuran pointed at the corner behind the stone table. That won't do. You have to kneel down to wipe it, to reach it. Kneel. Ai Lin, hearing this word, was on the verge of exploding. That's right, you have to kneel. Only then can your hand reach inside. Shen Yuran blinked her big eyes, looking very innocent. Ai Lin could no longer bear it. This little bitch of a female. Can't she see that she's already reluctantly doing the work, yet she's still chattering non-stop in front of her, bossing her around. Now, it's even more hateful. Actually wanting her to kneel. The witch knelt down. How utterly outrageous. She flung the rag away violently. Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you order me to work? You're just an unwanted wild female. Now, you even dare to stand in Huang Yu's cave. Simply shameless. Outside, it was now afternoon. Many hunting males had returned. It was very lively outside. Even though Huang Yu's cave was somewhat remote, they still heard Ai Lin's lion-like roar. They all ran over to see what was happening. They were really curious. Who could be so bold? How dare they compete with Ai Lin for a male? Although Huang Yu wasn't very powerful in the Sunset tribe, and was usually very aloof, not interacting with other males, but the problem was, he was good-looking. He was deeply liked by Ai Lin. It's just that Huang Yu had always been indifferent to her. To be more accurate, he was indifferent to all the females in the tribe. And now, hearing Ai Lin's words, it seemed there was another female in Huang Yu's cave. This was truly earth-shattering news. Chapter 7. Just you wait. In no time, the cave entrance was crowded with onlookers. I am his mate, Shen Yuran said, without a trace of timidity, standing before Ai Lin. As soon as these words were spoken, Huang Yu's gaze toward Shen Yuran instantly became extremely tender. So he had already accepted her. Walking behind her, his gaze lightly fell upon Ai Lin's face. That's right, Shen Yuran is my partner. These words were undoubtedly a bombshell, startling everyone present, especially Ai Lin. She looked incredulously at the male she had pursued for so long, yet never obtained. How could he have a partner overnight? Then her actions just now. Wouldn't that make her seem like a clown? She roared in anger. No, you're lying. You haven't worshipped the beast god. How can you be partners? Mentioning this, he immediately straightened his back. Yes, that's right. You weren't even here yesterday. How is it possible to form a partnership? The people outside all nodded in agreement. Although, among beastmen, one can mate with whomever they wish. But the matter of partners, everyone takes very seriously. Only after worshipping the beast god and receiving the beast god's blessing can they be true partners. It's not as simple as just saying it. Huang Yu put down the prey in his hands, gently took the hand of Yuran beside him. His gaze soft as he looked at her. Long eyelashes. A slight smile. You are right. So we will worship the beast god tonight, hoping the beast god blesses us to never part for a lifetime. The sudden words of affection made Shen Yuran's heart tighten. She didn't understand. This handsome male before her. When did I start liking myself so much? But the reality is, I must rely on him to survive in this beast world. Such a soft, gentle word. Yet it brought a surge of joy to Huang Yu's heart. He thought it would take Yuran a long time to agree to be with him. Never expected that with Ai Lin stirring things up like this. She agreed so quickly. The people outside the cave felt nothing seeing this scene. After all, Huang Yu's status in the tribe isn't high either. Pairing with an outsider female is just right. On the other hand, Ai Lin stomped her foot in fury. You actually tricked me? I'll tell my mother not to give you blessings. As soon as these words were spoken, the females outside the cave were the first to object. Especially Zhao Mai. She really likes Shen Yuran. This seemingly gentle yet strong-willed little female. What a high and mighty attitude. You say no blessings, so there are no blessings? That's right, you already have dozens of mates. Isn't that enough? Must you pester Huang Yu? Even the males nodded in agreement. Yes. Our Sunset tribe still has so many single males. How about you consider AI Lin? One of us, a short, dark male, said sheepishly, scratching his head. Right. I've already held back for over half a year without touching a female. Screw you, you only held back half a year. I've been a whole year. AI Lin, choose me. AI Lin glared hatefully at these ugly males. Was she so desperate? Were these goods even worthy of comparing to Feng Yu? Lifting her head to meet Feng Yu's indifferent expression. Feng Yu, giving you one last chance. Choose her, or choose me. You better think clearly. If you choose her, you'll probably starve or freeze to death. Here in the Sunset tribe, these words were very fair. No one outside the cave refuted them. After all, Feng Yu's capabilities were plain for all to see. All the males in the tribe looked down on him, which led to them never taking him out hunting. And he could only go alone, to catch some weak animals outside, to support himself. Hearing this, Feng Yu frowned slightly in displeasure. He just didn't like crowds, that's all. He just didn't like being with beastmen he wasn't familiar with. How did that make him weak? A male who even struggled to support himself. His gaze fell on AI Lin's haughty face. That's none of your concern. After all, haven't I managed just fine these past dozen or so years? Right, everyone suddenly realized. Yes. All the males in the entire Sunset tribe were self-sufficient. Before adulthood, parents managed their livelihood. After adulthood, it was self-reliance. The tribe never cared about their survival. They only provided for the underage females separately. However, Feng Yu's parents. He fell ill and died as early as when he was 7 years old. From that time on, he began to become very withdrawn, never interacting with other beastmen, living alone in this cave to survive. So many years have passed. It seems he not only didn't starve to death, but instead is living quite well. At least the black beast fur on him looks glossy and sleek at first glance. The quality is very good. Shen Yuran felt the warmth of the large hand enveloping hers. This black-haired male in front of her stood right before her, speaking gently and politely, but also refusing very firmly. At this moment, she thought that forming a family with this male in front of her seemed quite nice. After all, even if she hadn't crossed over, she might not necessarily find such a good partner. Extending her other hand, slowly grasping his large hand. I will work hard to support myself, and not cause you trouble. I, Shen Yuran, will not become your burden. Suddenly hearing these words, Huang Yu felt a warmth in his heart. No beastman had ever considered her feelings before. Whether it was her deceased mother, or the females of the tribe, her mother only cared about whether her beast-skin skirt was beautiful, and whether her male satisfied her desires. As for the females of the tribe, they only liked her beautiful appearance, and wanted to spend a night of pleasure with her. But this little female in front of her clearly had only known her for a few days. But afraid of becoming my own burden. This small chapter is not yet finished. Please click the next page to continue reading the exciting content that follows. The reason became my own companion. Still thinking about supporting myself. The corner of the mouth lifted slightly, reached out and stroked her smooth, long hair. How could I let you support yourself if you're with me? I have everything. What's mine is yours. What's yours is still yours. Shen Yuran felt her heart was about to melt. This male before her eyes. He's so good at this. Every move and gesture is full of gentleness and elegance. Even the tone of his speech is soft, just like the clouds in the sky. Not just him. Even the females at the cave entrance outside also had faces full of enjoyment. Now, they finally understood why AI Lin likes Huang Yu so much. Even though he is really useless. But what cannot be denied is, she really is very beautiful, and speaks so softly. Just watching from the side was unbearable for them. Not to mention Muyuran, who was in the midst of it. However, the sweeter it was here, the more bitter Ai Lin beside them felt. She has liked Huang Yu for many years, yet no matter what she does, he just doesn't look her in the eye. And now, he's showing off affection right in front of her. Pointing with hatred, she roared at the two of them. Huang Yu, Shen Yuran, just you wait. After saying that, she turned and rushed out of the cave, running away. The people outside, seeing the excitement had died down, began to disperse one after another. Zhao Mai couldn't help but cover her mouth and giggle. In the entire tribe, except for Ai Lin, everyone thought they were a perfect match. After all, one was the weakest among the males, and the other was an outsider female, just the right fit. Once the people left, only the two of them remained in the cave. The quietness made Shen Yuran feel somewhat uncomfortable. She quickly grabbed the animal hide nearby, turned around, lowered her head, and began wiping away the dust. Chapter 8, I am late. Huang Yu knew she was thin-skinned, so he didn't expose her shyness. He quietly walked to her side, and seeing her wipe the table, he helped by moving items. Their bodies were very close. Shen Yuran felt that if she took a deep breath, she could smell the fragrance on him, thinking of him being right beside her, his sturdy arm reaching over from time to time, and those fair, slender fingers. Her mind began to wander. There weren't many things in the entire cave. Many items had already been tidied up by Huang Yu. Small items were all stored in animal hide bags. Soon, this side was wiped clean. She turned to wipe the other side, but unexpectedly, as soon as she straightened her back, she bumped right into Huang Yu's chest. Startled, he immediately took a step back. His firm, well-defined chest suddenly appeared before her eyes. Too shy to look around, she could only lower her head. I'm sorry. Huang Yu lowered his gaze, took in all his movements and expressions. Such an adorable female made him unable to put her down. If not for fear of scaring her, he really wanted right now to just press her into his embrace and give her a good, thorough squeeze. But such a cute her. He somewhat didn't want to let her off. Sorry for what? The low, hoarse voice made the atmosphere even more ambiguous. Shen Yuran nervously confessed, honestly. I bumped into you and hurt you just now. Hearing this, Huang Wai couldn't help but laugh. Am I really that weak? As he spoke, a delicate fragrance wafted over. It made her feel somewhat dazed for a moment. Unconsciously, she took a step closer to him, wanting to smell more of it. But unexpectedly, this action frightened Shen Yuran, who abruptly pushed him away. Seeing him almost stumble from her push, Shen Yuran then snapped back to reality. What had she just done? She had clearly just said she was willing to be his partner, yet now she acted like this. There was no way to explain it. She was so embarrassed she didn't know where to put her hands and feet. Suddenly remembering the animal hide still airing by the river, immediately, a light bulb went off in her head. I forgot to collect the hides. After saying that, she dashed out of the cave, leaving Huang Wai alone in the cave. Seeing her leave, when the entire cave held only him, Huang Wai then snapped back to reality. What had I just done? I actually scared the little female away. I wanted to chase after her immediately, but I stopped in my tracks. Maybe it's better to let her breathe some fresh air. If I follow her now, it will undoubtedly make her nervous. It's better to stay home and roast a pheasant for her. Today, I specifically hunted 2 large pheasants for her. Time passed minute by minute. Outside, the sun had completely set. Huang Yu had already cleaned the pheasants and placed them over the fire to roast. However, Shen Yuran still hadn't returned. Even if she was getting some air, she should be back by now. Could it be that she had secretly run away again? Thinking of this, Huang Yu abruptly stood up from the stone stool. He wanted to go out and look for her, but he stopped after just 2 steps. Could it be that everything she said earlier was just to deceive me? Suddenly, he felt every pore on his body, and every joint aching with a piercing pain. If she really left, then he would let her go. Huang Yu made up his mind. He walked out of the cave, and headed straight for the river. Arriving at the riverbank, all he saw were his animal pelts drying all along the shore. But there was no sign of Yuran at all. He couldn't help but mock himself. Maybe it really is for the best that she left. If she's gone, then she's gone. Huang Yu, not the kind of male who can't handle letting go. Walking up to the animal pelts, he raised his hand to gather them and take them back. Suddenly, a strange shoe appeared before his eyes. With just one glance, he recognized it as Yuran's. Last night, he had secretly looked at the soles of Yuran's feet. Unlike other beastmen, the soles of her feet were as soft as her hands. Without these shoes, she simply couldn't run. And only one was here. He understood in an instant. Then Yuran hadn't run away. She was in danger. Panicked and tense, he turned to look at the gray, hazy surroundings. The river flowed, murmuring. A breeze stirred. Grass blades swayed gently. It was quiet all around. But there was no sign of Yuran. Don't move. If you attract Huang Yu over, I won't mind killing him too. Shen Yuran was utterly terrified. A dull pain came from her back. She didn't need to look to know. It was Chanjia pressing his knee against her back. Her eyes were fixed tightly ahead on Huang Yu, anxious by the riverbank below the hillside. She desperately wanted to call for help, but her mouth was stuffed with the foul-smelling animal hide. It prevented her from making any loud sound. She could only struggle and writhe on the ground with all her might. Turning her head, she glared hatefully at this detestable one-eyed man. Tears welled up in Chanjia's eyes. If she had known this beast would seek revenge, she should have killed him back then. Chanjia yanked open the animal hide skirt she used to cover her shame. A small, pitch-black thing was instantly exposed. It was also mixed with the disgusting, foul stench. Instantly, it made him nauseous and sick to his stomach. Chanjia grabbed her long hair, forcing her to face him. You look down on me, don't you? Today I'm definitely going to have my way with you. As he spoke, he directly reached out to tear the shirt on Shen Yuran's body. With a ripping sound, the buttons all burst open. Frightened, she let out muffled whimpers. What's this? Chanjia looked curiously at the white undergarment inside the shirt. Before he could even reach out to tear it, the next moment, a huge green peacock descended from the sky. Its claw pierced straight through his chest. He instantly fell to the ground. The green peacock transformed into human form as soon as it landed. Turning around, it crouched beside Shen Yuran and yanked the animal skin from her mouth. Seeing her covered in wounds and tied up on the ground, it felt immense heartache. This chapter is not finished yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content that follows. Holding her tightly in his arms. I came too late. Freed from her restraints, Shen Yuran quickly wrapped her clothes tightly around herself. Terrified, she curled up in Huanju's arms, weeping bitterly. If he hadn't arrived in time, she probably would have already been raped by Chanjia. Just thinking back to the scene moments ago filled her with fear. Feeling the sense of safety beside her, she pressed herself tightly against Huanju, reaching out to wrap her arms around his neck, hoping to feel even safer. Thank you for saving me. The corner of Phoenix Feather's eye fell upon the ugly long tooth beside him. His gaze turned cold as it shifted, using his body to block her line of sight. The swelling and redness on her ankle had only just subsided quite a bit. Now, it was covered in scrapes again. Not only that, there were also 5 bright red finger marks on her face. One look, and it was clear they were from that wild boar Long Tooth. If he hadn't just caught a whiff of Long Tooth's foul stench in the air, he might not have been able to find them so quickly. Yet he never expected that, as a male, Long Tooth would dare to lay hands on a female like this. It was utterly detestable. Killing him with a single move just now was really letting him off too easy. Raised a hand to brush off the withered leaves stuck to him. Softly said, "It's okay. It's fine now, let's go home." Saying this, she picked him up with both hands and headed toward the tribe. Passing by the river, Shen Yuran asked him to put her down. "I want to take a bath." The dark, newly grown teeth had touched her. Just thinking about it made her nauseous. And that scene of him flashing his bird was really off-putting. Huang Yu gently placed her by the riverside. "Call me if you need anything. I'll go put away the animal hides." Shen Yuran looked around. There happened to be a thick patch of tall reeds nearby. She hopped and skipped to the river's edge. Couldn't see Huang Yu's figure at all. No one else was around either. Only then did she feel at ease. Took off the soiled and tattered white chemise dress she was wearing. Kicked off the already stinky sneakers. Slowly tested the water with her chin. As soon as it touched the cold water, she couldn't help but shiver. Having grown up this big, this was her first time taking a cold bath. For a moment, it felt quite uncomfortable. She tried slowly wetting her body with the water first. Only then did she gradually squat down. Luckily, the cold feeling passed quickly. No shower gel. Not even soap. Not even plant ash was available now. All the plant ash from the cave had been used up by her for washing. The animal hides could only be rinsed with clean water. The only comforting thought was that the water here was unpolluted, very clean and clear. Took the opportunity to wash my hair. Also washed my own skirt. Although it's torn, it's still better to keep it. What if it comes in handy someday? Just as she was seriously washing the skirt, suddenly something soft fell on her shoulder. Chapter 9, Call My Name. Shen Yuran instinctively reached out to touch it. With just one touch, she felt that soft sensation, screamed in fear, stood up and ran towards the shore. Huang Yu, who was guarding nearby, heard the rustling sound of Shen Yuran bathing in his ears. His mind was wandering, imagining the scene. The next moment, he heard her scream. Immediately turned around. But unexpectedly, as soon as he turned, he saw her holding a piece of white animal skin. Covering her chest, she quickly ran over. Her lustrous skin, her exquisite, well-proportioned figure, slender legs. Running on the grass, her face showed a terrified and fearful expression. With just one glance, the desire to protect arose. Till Shen Yuran ran fearfully to his side. Only then did he snap back to reality. Nervously asked, "What happened?" "There's a bug." Shen Yuran fearfully pointed at the river. "I was just washing clothes when I felt something fall. Upon touching it, I realized it was a bug. So disgusting. I feel like my hand isn't my own anymore." Huang Yu noticed that once she got frightened, she became much more talkative. "I guess she's really scared." Walking to the reeds by the river, going to check from the side. Just as she walked over, at a glance, she saw the green bug that had already been flattened by him, fallen on the river surface. Shen Yuran followed over, and also discovered the already dead bug. Although dead, just one look at it made her feel scared. Disgusting. She's not afraid of snakes, not afraid of cats, just afraid of dogs and bugs. Especially soft, squishy bugs. Really disgusting. Stop looking. It's so gross. Huang Yu was amused by her action of rubbing against him. It was the first time he had seen a female so afraid of bugs. Such a small bug. Some females in the tribe even catch them to eat. But she's so scared. He wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but found she wasn't wearing a stitch of clothing. Couldn't even find a place to touch. Lowering his eyes, he said, with a smile, "Maybe you should put on some animal hide first." At this moment, Shen Yuran then realized she was completely naked. Scared, she immediately squatted on the ground, using her wet slip dress to cover her body. "You turn around." Huang Yu now understood. This female is a bit timid and very shy. He turned around. "Don't wear the wet animal hide skirt. I'll give you animal hide to wrap yourself first. I'll make clothes for you when we go back." Saying this, he handed her a piece of earth yellow animal hide. Shen Yuran carefully took it. She really didn't want to get sick. She had already broken precedent by taking a cold bath tonight. If she wore wet clothes again, she would definitely get sick. In a world like this, getting sick was undoubtedly seeking death. She really didn't want to die. Thank you for him taking the animal skin and wrapping it around herself. She tightly grasped the seam with both hands to prevent it from falling off. Huang Yu took the wet clothes from her hand. carrying a large pile of cleaned animal skins on one shoulder. The two of them headed back, one after the other. However, before they reached the tribe, they suddenly heard from the nearby woods the sound of rapid breathing. Yuran curiously turned her head to look, and saw three black animal shadows surrounding a female on the ground, happily playing. After just one glance, she turned her head away. Damn curiosity. She clearly knew what was happening, but still couldn't resist taking a look, only to find it a bit eye-burning. She secretly raised her head, wanting to see what expression Huang Yu had ahead, but all she saw was his tall back, and not his face. Returning to the cave, Huang Yu spread the animal skins on top, then went to the wooden box nearby, pulled out a large piece of thin cloth, and spread it on top. Now, I wouldn't be hot at night. Shen Yuran stood dazedly to the side. The light in the cave was very dim, so she couldn't clearly see what he was holding in his hand. Hearing his words, I curiously walked over. As soon as I touched it, I immediately exclaimed in surprise, "This is something you don't know." Huang Yu turned her head curiously to look at her. "This was something I spent 100 seashells on to buy at Yunmeng's. At the time, I just thought it looked rare and nice. After bringing it back, it had been pressed at the bottom of a chest and never used. I only tore off a corner to use as a handkerchief. It just happened to be given to Yuran to use last night," he had noticed. Yuran is very afraid of heat. She was sweating all night. Shen Yuran leaned in to examine it carefully. "It's the same material as the hemp cord from the cloth shoes with layered soles that Grandma used to make for me. It's the same kind of thing. This is made from bamboo hemp. It feels very cool to wear in the summer." Hearing her answer like this, Huang Yu didn't find anything strange. The white dress Shen Yuran wore felt much softer to the touch than this linen. It was clearly something better than linen. The corner of his mouth lifted. "Then I'll make you a set of clothes at home tomorrow." Shen Yuran, still immersed in the shock of the linen, was suddenly puzzled by these words. She looked up and met his gentle gaze. Her heart was full of doubt. He could kill Chang Ya with one move, which meant his strength was formidable. Moreover, he was so good-looking, and his temper was so gentle. He felt like a perfect man. Such a man. She didn't think she had much charm to attract him into love at first sight. But such a male. The feelings in her heart told her. She was truly moved. Her hand unconsciously gripped the animal hide. She voiced the question in her heart. "Why did you choose me?" Huang Yu took in all her little movements. Her beautiful, crescent moon-like eyebrows were furrowed together. He couldn't help but reach out to smooth them for her. "Because you are the first person who respected me." Shen Yuran listened, somewhat confused. She blinked her eyes, her face full of bewilderment. Huang Yu smiled slightly. He knew she hadn't understood his words. "You are the first person who said thank you to me." Not only that. In fact, she was also the first female who made him feel an impulse. This is the reason she liked him. But he knew he couldn't say this. As soon as it was spoken, the little female before him would likely become shy and embarrassed again. Oh, Shen Yuran heard this explanation. She didn't know what to say. After all, she didn't understand Huang Yu's past. Her slightly pouted lips made Huang Yu's mouth go a bit dry. There were only the two of them in the entire cave. The night outside was very quiet. As long as the two in the cave didn't speak, they could hear each other's breathing. The dim environment made him bold. He raised his hand to caress her slender shoulder, lowered his head, and gently placed a kiss. "Yuran, I am Huang Yu. Say my name." The bewitching voice made Shen Yuran's already slightly moved heart instantly succumb. She raised her eyes to meet his narrow, phoenix-like eyes. Huang Yu's soft voice was like a small stone falling into Huang Yu's heart, instantly stirring up 1,000 waves. He had originally only wanted to hear the sound of the female saying his name. However, it would have been better not to listen. Upon hearing it, he felt his legs take an uncontrollable step forward. He suddenly lowered his head and kissed her deeply. At this moment, Shen Yuran only felt her whole body go weak and limp. Her hands, which had originally been tightly clutching the animal hide, had also loosened at some unknown time. The moonlight outside was very bright, shining into the cave. It only stole a glance, before shyly immediately running into the clouds. Only the shy red glow remains in the sky, until the sun in the east reveals the fish belly white. Then it disappears without a trace. Chapter 10. They have come knocking. As soon as Huang Yu woke up, he couldn't help but reach over and pull close Yuren's slender waist, a very satisfied smile rising at the corner of his mouth, his whole face buried in her beautiful hair. It wasn't until last night that he understood why Yuran had reacted that way upon seeing mating, and upon seeing Chang Ya's body. Turns out she had never been in contact with a male before. Thinking of this, his heart grew even more tender and protective toward the little female in his arms. Not only is she beautiful and lovely, with a stubborn, strong-willed temper, but she also especially values her purity and self-respect. It's terrible, Chang Ya is dead. Suddenly, noisy sounds came from outside the cave. Shen Yuran suddenly heard Chang Ya's name, immediately jolting awake from the bed, sitting up and fearfully gripping Huang Yu's hand tightly. What do we do? They know. Huang Yu slowly got up. Don't worry, I'm here for this matter. The moment he killed Chang Ya, he never considered hiding it. After all, this Sunset tribe isn't large. Only about 100 people in total. Suddenly, one person missing would definitely be noticed. He is not the kind of beastman who dares to act, but not take responsibility. You stay inside. Don't come out. I'll handle it. After saying this, he strode out of the cave. Shen Yuran was very worried. This matter, to put it bluntly, was caused by oneself. It has something to do with him. She couldn't bear to let Huang Yu stand alone at the front, taking on the problem. She quickly grabbed the already tattered slip dress beside her, put it on, and casually took an animal tendon to tie up the torn parts. As long as she wasn't exposed, it was fine. Barefoot, she ran out of the cave, heading straight for where the most people were gathered. Before she even saw Huang Yu, she heard the accusatory voices inside. Chief, this is clearly from sharp bird claws. In our entire tribe, only Huang Yu is a bird beastman. He must be the killer. Chang Sheng pointed angrily at Huang Yu's face, accusing him to the chief. This didn't need him to say. All the males could tell these were bird claw marks. But some were puzzled. How could Huang Yu possibly kill Chang Ya? Yeah, he's so weak that they usually couldn't be bothered to take him hunting. The chief stroked his chin, thinking very seriously about the problem. If this really was Huang Yu's doing, then Huang Yu's strength could be said to rival that of his own son, Luo Bai. So, for the sake of an already dead Chang Ya, to offend a male with such combat power was clearly not worthwhile. It wouldn't be good for the entire tribe. If he didn't have such combat power, he absolutely couldn't have killed Chang Ya. So, from any perspective, putting Huang Yu on trial now was not a good approach. But this matter can't just be let go. After all, this tusked brother, Chang Sheng, is AI Lin's partner. And someone in the tribe died. He must give an explanation. Might as well pin it on those sky pirates outside. Just as he opened his mouth to speak about this matter, he was interrupted by Huang Yu, stepping forward, facing Chang Sheng without a trace of fear. I killed him. What are you going to do about it? As soon as these words were spoken, they thoroughly enraged Chang Sheng. He clenched his fists tightly, eyes blazing with fire. Why did you kill him? Huang Yu let out a disdainful, light laugh. I didn't like the look of him. These words actually resonated with many beastmen around. Not only was Changjia ugly, he was also particularly unclean, often relying on having a bit of strength. He liked to bully weaker males in the tribe, and to grope females. If not for the fact that his brother was AI Lin's partner, he would have been beaten to a pulp long ago. It's just as well that someone like him is dead, especially knowing he actually forced females to mate. If it were them, they'd want to beat someone up too. You're just great, aren't you? Chang Sheng pointed at his nose, so angry he didn't know what to say anymore. This was his own younger brother who grew up with him, usually giving him face by not bullying him. Was only out of respect for AI Lin that he bullied him, so that AI Lin wouldn't find out. Punish him by not allowing him on the bed. But now, he only wants to avenge his brother. Huang Yu, I challenge you. If you lose, get out of the Sunset Tribe. Huang Yu agreed without a second thought. Things that can be solved with fists. He doesn't want to explain too much. Shen Yuran finally squeezed through the crowd and heard these words. Frightened, she immediately stepped forward and tightly hugged Huang Yu's arm. No, she didn't want Huang Yu to get hurt. She had heard from Zhao Mai about this Changya. He was considered a very capable male in the tribe. The tribal chief, watching from the side, saw that the missing female had returned and was very close to Huang Yu. There was nothing left to misunderstand. It seemed Chang Yu really might have been killed by him. Fine, this was a chance to take the witch down a peg. So it was settled. If Huang Yu loses, he leaves the tribe. If he wins, Chang Sheng, you cannot trouble him. And you must apologize. Hearing the first part, it really sounded like he was on Chang Sheng's side. But upon hearing the last sentence, everyone finally understood. This was clearly favoring Huang Yu. However, Shen Yuran shook her head in fear. She didn't want Huang Yu to get hurt for her sake and be driven out. Chang Ya, she was just about to explain what happened. But the next moment, her mouth was tightly covered by Huang Yu. Softly in her ear whispered, that matter is a secret between us. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Seeing his confident smile, Shen Yuran felt somewhat reassured. However, the next moment she regretted it. Little master, there's more to this chapter later. Please click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. The Changsheng before her eyes turned out to be a golden lion. Beastman. She had thought he was a wild boar beastman like Changjia. Changsheng lifted his head and roared toward the sky. Huang Yu. Today is the day you get driven out of the Sunset Tribe. After delivering his harsh words, he immediately leaped toward Huang Yu with a bound. Shen Yuran watched this scene nervously. Her heart almost jumped out of her chest, as the sharp claws were right in front of Huang Yu. The next moment, a multicolored light flashed. The person who had just been standing on the ground had now transformed into his beast form and was flying in the air. Everyone's eyes were dazzled for a moment. When they opened their eyes again, they saw a beautiful green peacock, spreading its gorgeous, colorful wings and circling in the air. Its long tail trailed behind, as if it were a divine bird. Oh my! Huang Yu's beast form is so beautiful. Indeed, we've been in the same tribe for so many years, and never knew his beast form was this good looking. Some exclaimed in amazement. Some spoke with envy. What's the use of being good looking? If he can't defeat Changsheng, he'll be driven out. Right, good looks can't be eaten as a meal. Even AI Lin, who had always admired Huang Yu, was deeply captivated at this moment. Such a handsome male, yet he doesn't fancy me. Insisting on getting involved with a wild female. Thinking of this, he felt a breath stuck in his chest, unable to come out. Stepped forward and shouted at beat him, win. I will be yours alone tonight. As these words were spoken, Chang Shem was overjoyed from the bottom of his heart. He thought AI Lin would blame him. She even approves of me beating Huang Yu. Then I must properly teach him a lesson. Tonight, he won't have to eat the leftovers that other males have eaten anymore. Chapter 11. So he is this good. Chang Sheng opened his big mouth and pounced to bite at Huang Yu in the air. However, seeing this, Huang Yu, with a pair of huge, sharp claws, swiftly, accurately, and fiercely clawed towards his face. Just one strike, instantly bloodied and dripping. The pain made Chang Sheng cry out in agony, a sharp cry. Yet Chang Sheng grew even more furious. This face is his weapon. If it gets disfigured, his life would be over. This damn Huang Yu is clearly doing it on purpose, specifically attacking my face. Have the guts to come down. What's the point of flying in the sky? A powerful male. Huang Yu gently landed on the treetop nearby. Come down, so what? Lost is lost. These words directly stepped on the waste pipe on the bed. By now he had already forgotten that he came to seek justice for his brother, Changjia. You're talking nonsense. If you have the guts, come down. Lullaby, watching from the side, couldn't stand it anymore. To be honest, in terms of friendship, of course, it's Chang Sheng, this male who often hunts, who has a better relationship with himself. But even so, now, he felt it was too embarrassing to watch. It's obvious at a glance that it's Huanju who's impressive. What difference does it make whether he comes down or not? Besides, Huanju is a peacock beastman. Being able to fly is also part of standing. Everyone's eyes held looks of amazement. Only the clan leader wore an expression of disbelief. That claw strike from Huanju just now suddenly pulled his memory back 18 years. To that snow-covered winter. He was just out on patrol as usual. But unexpectedly, outside the tribe, discovered a phoenix fighting a flood dragon. In the end, both fell. In the nearby snowfield, he picked up a fist-sized blue egg. Originally thinking of taking it home to cook and eat, he didn't expect the clan leader at the time to discover it was a beastman egg. So it was handed over to a beastman in the tribe to incubate. Everyone thought it might be a flood dragon egg or a phoenix egg. However, what hatched was a grayish, dingy, ugly little thing. As time passed, almost everyone had nearly forgotten its existence. Yet unexpectedly, years have passed. Only now has the clan leader discovered that Huang Yu has actually grown to resemble somewhat the phoenix from back then. Similarly, many of his feathers are very beautiful. But at a glance, the colors clearly aren't from the same species. Although no matter how you look, the colors don't seem alike. Even so, the clan leader now knows Huang Yu is absolutely not ordinary. An ordinary beastman couldn't give birth to such a good-looking beastman. Thinking of this, his eyes shifted, and he immediately had an idea in mind. He spoke with a smile. Alright, let's stop here. Huang Yu wins. Chang Sheng apologized to him. Shen Yuran stood to the side. Hearing this result, she could finally be completely at ease. She had always known Huang Yu was good-looking, but never expected his true form to be even more handsome. Last night, due to being too flustered, she hadn't really noticed. However, Chang Sheng, hearing this unilaterally declared result, was very angry in his heart. I won't apologize. Clearly, he was the one who killed my brother. Why should I apologize? Huang Yu knew these beastmen were all spineless. Clearly, he was the one who proposed the fight and lost, yet didn't want to admit it. Him making such a fuss is nothing more than just wanting some compensation. Who doesn't know that although he and Chang Ya are blood brothers and have a good relationship, he is even more greedy for petty advantages. Speak, what do you want? Chang Sheng snorted coldly and transformed into human form. 3 bloody scars abruptly appeared on his face. I don't care for your things, but Long Tooth is my brother. I can't let him die for nothing. I want 50 cowrie shells, 10 high-quality furs. As soon as these words were spoken, the other ORCs nearby all gasped in shock. Damn, this guy is really asking for the moon and the stars. You should know, many families here can't even come up with 10 cowrie shells, let alone 50 cowrie shells plus 10 furs on top. To be honest, at this moment, many people suddenly felt Long Tooth simply wasn't worth that much. Fine, 50 cowrie shells I'll give you. But as for the 10 furs, no, I'll give you 5 more cowrie shells instead of the 10 furs. Furs are never given to others, except for himself and Yuran. No one else can use them. Those are premium furs he specifically saved. Good. Chang Sheng heard there was such a good deal and immediately agreed, afraid he might change his mind. You should know, although 1 cowrie shell can also buy 2 good furs, but furs are, after all, just objects. How can they compare to the value of cowrie shells? With cowrie shells, you can go to Yunming's and exchange for anything. Huang Yu retracted his beast form. With a light turn, he landed beside Shen Yuran. Yuran, Go back and help me fetch the cowrie shells from the wooden chest. Then Yuran wished that this matter could be resolved with money. She hurriedly ran back, dove into the cave, and immediately began rummaging through the wooden boxes. There were 7 or 8 boxes in total. She searched through them one by one. Finally, at the very bottom of one of the wooden boxes, she found a small, delicate wooden box. She took it out and opened it. Inside were all small, cute little seashells. She carefully counted out 55 of them, put them in a leather pouch, ran out and handed it to Huang Yu. As soon as Chang Sheng heard the clattering sound inside, he wanted to step forward and take it. But Huang Yu sidestepped him, turned and handed it to the clan chief beside him. "Clan chief, please count the number." The clan chief was very satisfied with this feeling of being respected. He nodded with great satisfaction and took it. In front of everyone, he counted them one by one. 55 pieces in total. Not one more, not one less. Chang Shem received the seashells, and the matter was considered settled. Chang Sheng looked at the white seashells with a beaming smile.